In May 1973, a group of Black women, such as Margaret Sloan Hunter, Eleanor Holmes Norton, Jane Galvin Lewis, and so many countless others came together to discuss needs and concerns of Black women who were ostracized from the civil rights movement, the masculinist politics of the civil rights movement, and also the racism that they face in the women's movement. And they came together to interrogate their lives, their issues as Black women, but also to define a Black feminist politic. So we are truly indebted to organizers Eugenia Wiltshire and Deborah Singletary and the critical work that they've done so that we can continue to label and identify ourselves as Black feminists and have a radical Black feminist politic.
I didn't have any real leadership in terms of what it meant to be a Black woman, but I had a sense of rage and a sense of that things weren't right and something needed to be done, and I just was not going to be complacent. But I couldn't do that as an individual. I knew I needed a community.
I was 21 and saw an article in the Daily News that there was an organization called the National Black Feminist Organization, and I had that hit, like I knew it, like I knew, it was like I'm looking at myself and recognizing myself in a mirror.
I went to this meeting one evening in the basement of a church, and there were 30 or 40 Black women in that church, and I walked in and I said, wow, here you all are. And I was just thrilled to be in that environment with Black women.
I had never seen that before. I had never seen Black women who had such a stand and a stance and an attitude and firmness, and they could articulate what for me was likely at that time disassociated rage, and they could put it into sentences and into ideas to move women forward. And I was absolutely amazed and stunned, and I was home.
November 1973 was the first time over 400 Black women came together based on the National Black Feminist Organization's conference to discuss Black feminism in their own terms. And from the National Black Feminist Organization is where we get organizations such as the Combahee River Collective and also the National Alliance of Black Feminists.
I learned so much from the women who were around at the beginning of NBFO. There was, of course, Florence Kennedy, who was an attorney, and Jane and Margaret, and the three of them were hysterical. And it was fun to be around them. They were my teachers.
Jane and Margaret were very dynamic and dramatic in their presentation, and I identified with that as a very shy woman. I knew that I could really learn from these women who were speaking feelings that I didn't necessarily know I had. And once you're in a group with women, you don't much hear the naysayers or the people who were afraid of us, men and women who thought we had crossed some kind of line. Men in the civil rights movement would wonder that we were identifying as Black feminists. They thought they had it covered in the civil rights movement. But we observed that often in that movement, some women were really relegated to cook or to serve. For us, this was just about being freely human.
A critical text to interrogating the intellectual and political legacies of the National Black Feminist Organization is a book titled Living for the Revolution, Black Feminist Organizations from 1968 to 1983 by scholar Dr. Kimberly Springer. And in the book, Dr. Springer really contextualizes the importance of the National Black Feminist Organization and how these Black women, such as Margaret Sloan Hunter, Florence Flo Kennedy, Eleanor Holmes Norton, they really contextualized and created a launch pad for Black feminists to create a Black feminist agenda to discuss issues such as reproductive justice and reproductive injustices, to talk about sexism and racism and these double oppressions and these intersecting oppressions that Black women face, and also a space to interrogate our joy and our leadership and contributions to political movements around the world.
Margaret passed on a long time ago now. It's been a lot of years, and Jane just recently. And it's really very sad for me that she's not here. To see what women have done and are doing, and nobody's asking permission. It's like, this needs to be done, I'm gonna do it.
It was with gratitude and shock that I opened an email that indicated you were celebrating us. It was like a vitamin B, C, K shot. In some ways I felt we had been erased from history, that nobody knew who we were. There was an active movement to shut us down. And often Black women were used to infiltrate the NBFO. We were worthy of the COINTELPRO or, those organizations. I wouldn't even have thought they would care, but they were not going to take a chance. Black women were organizing, and we were infiltrated. Some of it was painful, but what remains is the idea that I am in charge of my own identity. And as I age and even have a different perspective on feminism, that it is my charge to say who I am and to be open to receive who you are.
So thank you once again to Deborah Singletary and Eugenia Wiltshire for being two powerhouse and pioneering Black feminist leaders and for being members of the National Black Feminist Organization. We are indebted to you and we thank you.